Why are you laughing?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for a collection of hilarious outtakes and actual scenes from The Big Bang Theory, where no one on camera seemed to be able to keep it together.
One plays it lightning, the other plays it.
Number 30, Emily or Cinnamon. Given how much flack Raj gets for how close he is to his dog, it's unsurprising to see Howard invent an entirely new game to extend his mockery.
Emily or Cinnamon. I want you to know the bed feels so lonely when you're not in it.
Yeah, I may not be liking this game so much.
He spouts off a piece of trivia, and the idea is to determine whether or not Raj did or said something to his dog or his girlfriend. The joke itself gets stretched across the episode, and depending on the scene, you can clearly tell some cast members had a hard time keeping it together.
A man can care deeply about a woman and a pet. It's not strange.
Ooh, Emily, I heard him say that to Emily.
Johnny Galecki in particular can be seen smiling and laughing repeatedly, and we're pretty sure it's him and not Leonard loving the joke.
It's just so perfect that we're both Libras.
Wow, this is hard. I'm gonna say Cinnamon.
Yes!
Come on!
Number 29, Broken Door Handle. Sheldon is all too excited that Adam Nimoy is coming to interview him for his documentary film.
Or as I like to call it, a spockumentary. Yeah, I'm going to use that joke in the interview, so try to laugh like you're hearing it for the first time.
With a knock at the door, he runs over and is more than excited to see the son of one of his heroes standing there. In an outtake for this scene, Jim Parsons can be seen grabbing the door handle and is unable to open it from his hand slipping off.
Oh, dear.
This triggers a bout of laughter from himself, as well as Johnny Galecki and Kaley Cuoco. As hard as the actors work to get their lines, no one could be expected to hold it together when the set itself ends up being the problem.
I admire your father's work very much. It's not every day I get to meet someone whose life's journey began in my hero's scrotum.
I told you this guy is gold.
Number 28, Raj can't help Howard. Since most of us don't work as actors in the television industry, it's hard to know what goes through their minds as they are attempting to deliver their lines.
Speaking of that big side of beef, she's invited all of you to Thanksgiving at her house.
When Howard is trying to convince the gang to come to the house for Thanksgiving, Simon Helberg breaks character and scolds Kunal Nayar for apparently making him break.
Please, Bernadette's bringing her dad because her mom's out of town and I never have anything to say to that guy. I'm gonna kill you. I'm sorry.
As an audience member, it doesn't seem like there's a clear reason for Simon's break, beyond possibly a look on Kunal's face. Whatever it was, it certainly got him and his castmates to chuckle and break the scene.
My, the plot like my gravy thicken.
Number 27, What's My Line? Across multiple talk show appearances, and even in the book about the show, multiple actors have commented on Kaley Cuoco's uncanny ability to remember her lines.
Okay, sweetie, I understand you have scars that no non-professional can heal, but nevertheless, we're gonna throw Leonard a birthday party.
But even someone as talented as she is has moments where her memory slips. In a season 1 episode, Penny is trying to blackmail Sheldon into helping her give Leonard a birthday party.
I really don't think
Okay,
that Leonard
here's the
wants
deal. You either help me throw Leonard a birthday party, or so help me God, I will go into your bedroom and unbag all of your most valuable mint-condition comic books. And on one of them, you won't know which, I'll draw a tiny happy face in ink.
In a hilarious outtake, as Sheldon confronts Penny, Cuoco looks up at him and says,
You can't do that. If you make a mark in a mint comic book, it's no longer mint.
What's my line?
Parsons and Cuoco immediately burst into laughter, triggering a funny reaction from the audience. We love how even the simplest of bloopers can show how actors are just like everyone else.
Yeah, I have an idea. Let's throw Leonard a kick-ass birthday party.
Number 26, Hello, Ramona. Don't ever think that anything you ever see or hear in a film or television series is by accident.
I can't believe she tried to steal Sheldon from Amy.
You know what? I'm gonna go there and tell her that they're engaged now and that her little plan didn't work.
Because you're sticking up for Sheldon, or because you're still mad she rejected you?
Too far away, can't hear you.
Whether it was written on the page or occurred in the moment, the director always has the option to do another take, and what makes the final cut is carefully edited. In a scene from the Caltech cafeteria, we see Raj going to talk to Ramona. She's the one that triggered Sheldon's proposal to Amy.
Hello, Ramona.
Hello.
Why are you sitting by yourself? Oh, that's right. Sheldon's in New Jersey being engaged to Amy.
I heard.
In one take, after uttering a simple greeting, a large bang can be heard, spawning an outbreak of laughter from the cast and the audience. We don't get to see what caused it, but we do get to laugh along with them.
Hello, Ramona.
Number 25. The spaghetti was that good. There's an unwritten rule when filming actors on a set when it comes to food.
Will you cut up hot dogs into little chunks and mix them in with the sauce?
I don't have hot dogs.
That's all right, I do. Oh, you're in for what my mother calls a real Italian treat.
More often than not, they're not supposed to actually eat anything, or much of it anyway. This often has to do with keeping each take of a scene consistent when it comes time to edit the show. The Big Bang Theory was notorious for its scenes involving food.
I'm so glad you like it.
I do. Leonard never cooks for me.
Well, maybe that's because Leonard can't cook.
You can't cook and you made me this.
All of it was real and prepared by a staff chef. During a scene between Sheldon and Penny, Jim Parsons forgets his line, and we just see Kaley Cuoco eating her spaghetti and commenting on how good the food is.
And he in no way said it in a manner which would, I don't know.
It's okay, this tastes so good.
Her quip is met with laughter, and now we're thinking about pasta. Number 24. Making fun of Zach. Among the recurring characters on this show, Zach was always a favorite.
Check it out. All about planets this month.
That's an atom.
Agree to disagree. That's what I love about science. There's no one right answer.
He was such a contrast to the boys, and later the girls as well. With Penny having been the token dumb blonde for so long, it was certainly a change of pace to see someone whose tools weren't even as sharp as hers.
It was a great show. They also said dolphins might be smarter than people.
They might be smarter than some people.
In a season 4 episode, Zach returns, and in an unexpected twist, our geeks start mocking Zach's incompetence. During the sequence, everyone in the cast is laughing, except for Penny, who knows the boys should be better, but can't help themselves.
I don't get it.
A dolphin might.
Oh, I see. You guys are inferring that I'm stupid.
That's not correct. We were implying it. You then inferred it.
Number 23. Tears of laughter. Sheldon and Leonard have decided to go with the girls while they shop.
There's one thing I know about after living with you for so many years, it's how to compromise.
I'm sorry. You make compromises for me?
All the time.
On Earth.
Instead of actually participating, they find themselves sitting in the store and eventually succumbing to a deep conversation about their friendship. The original scene gets funnier as Sheldon uses Amy's compact to help him clear tears off his face.
There we go. Compromising again. We really are the best.
The entire thing is already hilarious, but when we throw in the blooper, things are even better. In one outtake, Jim can't help but smile, which triggers the rest of the cast to upend in hilarious laughter, with even Kaley thanking him for it. Number 22. With yourself. In the English language, there are countless ways a person can insult another.
And somehow, you managed to hold your head high despite your checkered past.
Checkered past?
It's a figure of speech referring to how sexually promiscuous you were.
One common method often employed during a heated conversation consists of one individual informing another that they should engage in, to use a Sheldon turn of phrase, coitus with themselves. One such episode sees Sheldon and Penny in a passionate disagreement, leading Penny to make a similar comment using terms around sexual promiscuity.
Well, I've got a figure of speech about how sexually promiscuous you can go be with yourself.
And what is it?
The aired scene goes over just as well as you would expect. However, in a behind-the-scenes clip, we see a long pause before Jim Parsons makes a huge smile, breaking Kaley into her own, and a huge round of laughter and applause from the audience.
Well, I've got a figure of speech about how sexually promiscuous you can go be with yourself.
Number 21. Whose line is it again? Sheldon and Amy are hesitant to read the feedback on their new theory. As they discuss their options, the audience and cast are treated to a couple of great bloopers that follow the same theme in the same scene.
Oh, Amy and I did give the world a gift. It would be nice to read some of the thank you notes.
I'm surprised you're interested in some stranger's opinion.
Well, as I always say, a stranger's just a friend who hasn't complimented me yet.
At first, Parsons finishes his line, and there's a noticeable gap. No one knows who is supposed to go next, which of course is funny to watch.
It would be nice to read some of the thank you notes.
I don't know whose line it is.
Me? Oh, sorry.
Then in the same scene, only a few lines later, the exact same thing happens to Mayim Bialik. The cast is laughing and drinking fake champagne, to which Johnny Galecki makes a crack about the alcohol not even being real, all while Kaley is making weird faces during the break.
Your turn.
Am I supposed to say something?
It's not even real champagne. Can't even use that excuse.
Number 20. Flower Girl Substitution. Amy and Sheldon have a formula for figuring out their wedding so that both of their ideas are fairly incorporated.
You know, this is really fun. I can't believe that people say that planning a wedding is one of the most stressful things in life.
I know. And not a day goes by that I don't marvel how much better we are than other people.
It starts well, but to no surprise, it turns into a disagreement fest. Amy frustratedly mentions potentially changing the flower girl to something less conventional.
Vows in Klingon.
Then I'm changing the flower girl to a dog. And guess what he'll be scattering instead of petals?
Shooting the scene, Jim Parsons couldn't help but crack a smile after Mayim Bialik delivered the second part about the lack of flowers and presence of something less pleasant. The line is super funny within the context of the wedding planning scene, so we can see why Parsons couldn't resist smiling.
And guess what he'll be scattering instead of petals?
Number 19. Leonard's briefcase comment. By the time Penny tells Leonard that her brother is coming to town during season 10, he already knows about his illegal drug activities.
Hey, can you hold off redoing that room? My brother's coming out here in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure. What's going on with your brother?
My dad asked if I can get him a job interview at my work.
Naturally, he's not happy about her brother staying with them. Penny tries to help get her brother a job in the area. When she brings up the idea of him potentially working at the same pharmaceutical company as her, Leonard has a funny and creative response.
Well, I'm sure he'll appreciate carrying his samples in a briefcase instead of his colon.
Kaley Cuoco visibly tried not to laugh after Johnny Galecki delivered the line, but her smile eventually turned into laughter after all.
Carrying his samples in a briefcase instead of his colon.
Number 18. I think it's nice. Sheldon provides abundant opportunities to get roasted throughout the Big Bang Theory.
Well, I think it's very nice that you're helping out our friend.
I think it's nice that you're taking whatever medication Amy is clearly giving you.
In many cases, it's for his quirkiness or unconventional behavior. During one particular stairway scene in season 10, he says something that exhibits kindness and social awareness, the latter of which especially often escapes him.
And what is that supposed to mean?
Well, it's like that science thing. For every action, you have a gigantic and annoying reaction.
Just when I thought you couldn't get me hotter.
Perhaps this comment doesn't warrant a snarky response, but that's what Leonard gives. After Leonard takes the shot at Sheldon, you can see Kaley Cuoco smiling, and even starting to chuckle while walking up the stairs. When it was time to say her line, it quickly became evident they'd need a retake.
And what is that supposed to mean?
It's like...
She's not gonna...
Number 17. Scavenger Hunt with Romeo. If you're on Bernadette's team for a scavenger hunt, you better be locked in. All she wants to do is win.
Sorry you got stuck with me. I bet you wanted to be with Bernadette.
Have you ever played a game with Bernadette?
No?
Have you ever gone into a steel cage with a wolverine?
She shows that competitive edge during a season 7 episode in which she finds herself teamed up with Leonard for a scavenger hunt. Things get a little rocky for Penny and Leonard when the teams are decided.
Yeah, you don't think I'm smart enough. You think I'm gonna be a liability, even though I totally just used the word liability correctly in a sentence.
Later, Leonard tries to bury the hatchet with Penny during the game, but Bernadette isn't having it. Not the time and not the place. This scene, which takes place at the comic book store, took several efforts to get right. Melissa Rauch and Johnny Galecki found the situation humorous as Rauch repeatedly shouted her line and shoved her co-star.
Hey, Romeo, repair your relationship on your own time.
Oh, in the face.
Number 16, Raj's babies comment. When Sheldon and Leonard find themselves at a crossroads with their work in physics, Leonard voices his disappointment and frustration to Penny.
It's worse than that. It hasn't found anything in years, so we don't know if we're right, we don't know if we're wrong, we don't know where to go next.
All I know is it looks like I tongue-kissed Avatar.
So Penny suggests Raj and Howard cheer up Leonard and Sheldon. Raj is not in the mood for their negativity and what he describes as whiny, baby-like behavior.
Physics is exactly like Lost. Started out great and turns out just a big old waste of time.
Boo-hoo! You know what you sound like? Babies. Two whiny babies.
An outtake from this season 11 scene showed Kaley Cuoco and Jim Parsons laughing. While Raj actually executed the line well, it certainly provided a reason for the actors to laugh.
Well, boo-hoo! Okay, you know what you sound like? Babies. Two whiny babies.
Howard's presence during the scene is also worth noting because at this point he's an expectant father, visibly overwhelmed by impending fatherhood. Raj's words certainly don't help put him at ease. Number 15. What other option was there? Sheldon's idea of consoling someone isn't quite up to par.
What are you doing?
I'm Googling what to do when someone's freaking out. Hello, it says here that a walk can be calming. Bye.
In a season 12 episode, Amy could use some emotional support from her husband. During a conversation with Penny and Leonard, Sheldon claims to have given it to her, but that doesn't sound like consoling. Penny's ensuing line is seemingly sarcastic, poking fun at the lack of effort Sheldon gave to brighten up his wife's day.
What exactly does that mean?
I took a walk, I came back, she was still upset, so I came here.
Well, I don't see what else you could have done.
Jim Parsons giggled after Kaley Cuoco said this line. Cuoco joined in on the laughing as well. This dialogue was a great piece of script writing, and Cuoco's execution brought it to life with flying colors.
Well, I don't see what else you could have done.
Number 14. Watching TV without Leonard. When a couple is watching a series together, there may come a time where one person feels tempted to watch an episode without their significant other. Depending on the situation, that could cause an issue.
We had started binge watching Luke Cage together, and it was kind of our thing. And then I find out that she watched 2 episodes without me.
It's like I was excited for a present and got socks.
Penny watches not just 1, but 2 episodes without Leonard. He isn't thrilled about it, describing his fight with Penny to their friends. This produced a funny blooper in which the live audience reacted to Leonard's line.
She watched 2 episodes without me.
This caused Cuoco, Parsons, and Bialik to smile and eventually break. Shooting another scene in season 10, an ew sound from the live audience made Penny laugh.
I'm sorry, she said ew.
But we're choosing the instance where more than just Cuoco laughed. Number 13. The big leagues. Stewart and Raj fight over Bernadette's co-worker, Rushi, during season 11.
He seemed fun.
Oh, yeah, he is. I love him dearly. Not to say that I don't worry about him.
What's to worry about?
You know what? I'm talking out of school.
Raj goes behind Stewart's back and isn't totally truthful when Stewart runs into him and Rushi. At one particular moment during the episode, Stewart's line about the big leagues of desperation produced a hilarious blooper. Kevin Sussman, who plays Stewart, delivered these words with great intensity and an irritated tone.
You want to play a game of who's more desperate with me? Because you're in the big leagues now, bucko!
The humor of the line itself, along with Sussman's execution of it, caused Kunal Nair to crack up. What actually made the final cut for the episode was a calmer delivery of the line, which is also funny, but arguably not as funny as the blooper.
You want to play a game of who's more desperate with me? Because you're in the big leagues now, bucko.
Number 12. Howard's baby car seat mishap. Bernadette gives birth to Hallie in season 10.
She's here. The baby's here.
Congratulations!
How's Bernadette?
Tired, but great. They're both great.
Does the baby have a name yet?
We have named her Hallie.
That same season, Howard brings his and Bernadette's baby up to Leonard and Penny's apartment. A laughter-filled blooper came out of this scene. The baby is asleep, so Howard asks if he can put her in the bedroom. Penny gives the okay.
The baby's asleep. Can we put her in your room?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you need help?
No, I got it. Doubtfire, Poppins, follow me.
The blooper came after this, as Simon Helberg tried to maneuver between a couple of chairs with the baby car seat in his hand. It didn't go as smoothly as he hoped. The rest of the actors in the room laughed. The fact that the mishap occurred right after Amy offered help made it all the funnier.
Do you need help?
No, I got it. Ooh.
Number 11. Sheldon snoring. There's snoring, and then there's whatever that noise Sheldon makes while sleeping. Even Jim Parsons recognized just how silly he sounded while shooting this bed scene with Mayim Bialik. After a few funny-sounding snores and body movements, Parsons couldn't control himself from laughing. This happened more than just once. He apologized and showed his frustration for not being able to keep himself together. At the same time, you could tell he was having a good time despite his several failed attempts. Unsurprisingly, what ultimately made the final cut for this scene was also quite funny. Number 10. Camera in comic book store. In season 9, Stewart invites the girls over to the comic book store to get their advice on how to bring more women through the door.
So how can we help?
Well, I know more women are buying comics than ever, but for some reason I can't get them in here.
All right, well, what have you tried so far?
When asked what he's done so far, he mentions the, quote, breastfeeding area, and tries to allay their concerns by telling them about the camera he had installed above them.
Really? In a comic book store?
Oh, don't worry, I've got a camera right up here, so I could watch from the counter, make sure guys aren't being pervs.
In the episode that aired, this last comment creeps the girls out. However, in a great blooper, actor Kevin Sussman, who plays Stewart, can't quite make it through his speech, which ends up cracking up the rest of the cast in the scene as well.
Anyway,
Number 9. Will Wheaton plays with himself.
Former star of Star Trek The Next Generation, and the only guy I know lucky enough to be immortalized in 1/16 scale. Set phasers to fun.
Okay, so we have to admit that Sheldon handing Will Wheaton a Wesley Crusher action figure and telling him to feel free to play with yourself, now that's a great line.
Can I speak to you for a second?
I'll be right back. Feel free to play with yourself.
It still makes us laugh every time we watch that episode. And it turns out, Mayim Bialik liked it also. So much so, in fact, that the actress just couldn't stay in character when it was her time to speak next. She was supposed to be angry, which we see in the aired episode, but in the blooper, she couldn't even get started.
I'll be right back. Feel free to play with yourself.
Number 8, Penny's feet. Depending on your POV, feet can be sexy or gross, but not many people find them funny.
Well, he pointed out that he kind of sort of had a put up with you.
Kind of, sort of, had a?
Well, I didn't agree with him.
Well, you defended me, right?
I tried, but...
However, watching Kaley Cuoco go to town on her feet in this season 4 scene was too much for Simon Helberg to handle. As we saw in the scene that made it to air, Howard is supposed to admonish Penny for scrubbing her feet wrong, and then take over and show her how it's done.
I do this for my mom all the time. See? With the grain.
Wow, that is better.
But in this take that ended up on the blooper reel, Helberg, although he tries to hang in there, can't help but break as Penny scrubs and scrubs and scrubs away.
Tried, but he...
Number 7, Indian Jones. In season 6, Raj had the very funny idea of dressing up as Indiana Jones's mocha-skinned love child, Indian Jones, for Halloween.
I was thinking of dressing up as Indiana Jones's mocha-skinned love child. Indian Jones.
Clever.
The problem is that Jim Parsons and Simon Helberg thought it was a really funny idea also. This was a problem because every time Kunal Nair would try and get his lines out, those other two would keep cracking up.
I was thinking of dressing up as Indiana Jones's
If that wasn't bad enough, once Parsons and Helberg were able to hold it together and keep a straight face, Nair just couldn't get the line out properly for take after take after take after...
Oh, by the way, can I borrow your bullwhip and fedora? Dude, keep it together. Oh, by the way, can I borrow your bullwhip and fedora?
Number 6, Howard and Raj get close. One of the things that makes this scene so funny is how Helberg and Nair hold their positions with their faces just a couple of inches from each other.
This is where he goes? What's in there?
I think it's an old storage room.
What could he be doing in there every day for 20 minutes?
If you're wondering how they managed to do it without laughing, well, the answer is they didn't. At least not on the first take.
What are you doing? I'm listening. Can't you face the other way and listen? I can't do anything right for you, can I?
We're not sure how many takes they did, but we do know that at least one of them led to this great blooper in which they hold, and hold, but eventually Nair cracks a smile. Helberg manages to hang on a bit longer, but not by much. Number 5, Mike DeGrasse Tyson. In the season 9 episode, The Fermentation Bifurcation, the gang runs into Penny's ex, Zach, at a wine tasting and gets to talking about science.
Angular momentum. I was wondering about that.
You can put it in a satellite or a rocket and it'll run forever.
Cool.
Because, as Zach points out, he loves science and can even name a number of famous scientists, including Mike DeGrasse Tyson.
I love science. Einstein, Stephen Hawking, Mike DeGrasse Tyson.
Zach's name mix-up gets a smile of superiority from the geniuses, as the script certainly called for. What it didn't call for, though, was Kaley Cuoco bursting out laughing, which she did during one of the takes when Zach stumbles over the name mix-up.
Einstein, Stephen Hawking, Mike DeGrasse Tyson. Piss off!
Number 4, Raj the couples counselor. Raj might just be the character most in touch with his feelings, and the best one to give advice to the couples in the group.
You made us feel like we're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, we were totally fine half-assing our marriage till you showed up.
Look, I'm sorry you're upset with me, but I just have to say it's nice to see the two of you on the same page.
But that doesn't mean they always want his advice. And in the Discovery Dissipation, each couple, one after the other, tells him exactly that. First, it's Howard and Bernadette, followed by Sheldon and Amy.
Thank you, Rajesh.
And Amy, you need to be patient with Sheldon instead of pressuring him to accept intimacy on your terms.
You should probably go.
But before they got a good take of Amy telling Raj to leave, there were a couple in which neither Nair, Bialik, nor Parsons could keep a straight face as Raj doled out his relationship advice.
Thank you, Rajesh.
And Amy?
Why are you laughing?
Number 3, Howard's Al Pacino impression. Howard is a master of impressions, and in season 6's The Love Spell Potential, we got to enjoy a number of them, from Nicolas Cage to Christopher Walken.
Travel with caution. These woods are home to the bones of many a fallen hero.
But when the girls return to the apartment where the guys are playing Dungeons and Dragons, Howard breaks out his Al Pacino impression to invite them to join in on the game.
A satanic fungus that looks suspiciously like Al Pacino rises from the forest floor and says, "You're playing D&D. You're playing D&D. This whole apartment is playing D&D."
And yes, the characters are supposed to appreciate the impression, but if you look at the cast around Howard, you can see that these are real laughs, not acting laughing.
I know not to fly over volcanoes. I'm a freaking idiot. Big Dragons, Christopher Walken, that's perfect.
Number 2, Sheldon spanks Amy. The episode in which Sheldon takes care of a sick Amy is filled with some of the biggest laughs of the series.
You may notice some tingling.
Oh, I'm counting on it.
We all remember Sheldon putting Vapo Rub on Amy's chest and spanking her to punish her for lying about being sick once her condition had improved. Well, as big as the laughs from the studio audience were during these scenes, so too were Parsons and Bialik's character breaks in the bloopers for each one. Bialik actually goes and winks at Parsons while he rubs her chest, and Parsons loses it after each spank of her rear end.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Action.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Thor and Dr. Jones. It often requires multiple takes to get a scene right, and actors can break character numerous times before finally keeping a straight face for the scene that makes it into the episode.
Indy held his ground and straightened his fedora.
Thor said, "That's a nice look," in 1944.
And then there are times when the scene that makes it to air isn't the only one where they don't break, but rather the one in which they break the least. Case in point, Howard and Raj's concert at the comic book store in season 9. As you can see in this blooper, Kaley Cuoco is breaking through pretty much the entire song.
One plays with lightning, the other plays with...
But check out the actual scene and you'll see Cuoco holding strong when they first cut to her, but once Nair and Hellberg hit those high notes, she breaks yet again.
One plays with lightning, the other plays with bones. Thor and Dr. Jones.
Which Big Bang Theory moment makes you break the most? Let us know in the comments.
Your turn.
Am I supposed to say something?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.